What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Taylor Hinton Speaks His Mind, the #1 online trainer podcast, where I, your #1 millennial health coach, breaks down for you some hard facts on Mindset Monday and giving you guys some insight on some things that you maybe think about but don't really pay too much attention to, or little mindset things that are holding you back. A lot of times these things are subconscious, and I truly believe that when you start to unlock these things, pay more attention to them, and put a little bit more investment and time into them, you're going to see a net positive in your life, be it fitness or mindset, or with your relationships, work, business, finances, whatever. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to break that down for you guys in just a second. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Thank you so much for jumping on Instagram. This is also on Facebook Live. It should be. And then this is going to be available on YouTube if you wanted to watch the videos for it. Sometimes, like for Mindset Monday, a lot of times it's just me talking. So maybe better just listening on Apple Podcasts. Go ahead and subscribe there. But on YouTube, on the Wednesdays and the Fridays, that's where I share my screen a lot of times. And I'm answering questions for clients, or I'm breaking down their form and their technique. So you'll be able to, on Facebook, to see my clients' actual videos of them performing these exercises and watching me critically break down everything that they're doing. And if you're able to absorb the information that I'm giving you here on those calls and then apply that to your own fitness journey, I know you're going to make significant gains, okay? So go ahead and subscribe on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts. It would mean a ton. And if you can give me a 5-star review also on Apple Podcasts, that would really help reach more people who are needing some help too, right? Send this over to somebody who could benefit from it. For my clients, we have our January 3rd Poseidon Cold Plunge and Sauna event at 10 a.m. in Chilliwack. You could just search up Poseidon Cold Plunge and Spa, where we're going to spend 90 minutes together. We blocked off the whole venue, so it's just going to be myself, Angela, and the Hinton Nation clients who are jumping in on it. It's $100 to come. When you do that, you're also getting a month for free of your coaching. So regardless of whatever rate you paid, you're going to get an additional month for free with your coaching when you get a $100 ticket to come to the event. You're also going to be entered in to win a $200 gift card that's going to have a custom supplement package just for you. Whether you are abroad or you're local, I'll help you pick the supplements that you need. And either just send the cash to you, or I'm going to send a gift card for you, or I can send the supplements directly to you, whatever. We'll figure it out. You're also getting a $200 gift card to give to a family member or friend who wants to join, somebody who's kind of been on the fence for a little bit, but seeing your amazing progress. And then you'll get a Hinton Nation t-shirt as well, because, hey, why not, right? So that out of the way, let's get right into Mindset Monday, okay? Just had a conversation with my financial advisor, as Angela and I, it was really coincidental actually. Angela and I spent a couple hours yesterday just breaking down our vision and our goals for 2026. And we're actually going to do that as a team too. So I'm going to be making an announcement later today inside the community pages where we're all going to jump on and set some goals for 2026. We set fitness goals, we set business goals, we set financial goals, we set lifestyle goals. For everything that we're trying to achieve. For those of you who have been following along for a little bit, thank you so much. You guys may know at this point that we live in Abbotsford, Canada. I was born and raised here, and our goal in 2027 is to move our entire life to Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee. And that only happens when we take diligent, intentional action on a daily basis to get to that one big, giant goal, right? Because here's the thing, like we see people online being really successful and making big moves and having a ton of fun and doing things that we go, damn, like that's crazy. Like I wish that I had that, or I wish that I could do those things. And you never really stop to realize for a second that you actually can. Like you have the power to do those things. And some things are going to be less, achievable, but not impossible for some people, and some are more. But the point is that like when you set out your intentions correctly and you have a game plan, not just a goal, here, you've probably heard this before, but like a goal without a plan is just a dream, right? And if you're operating life based off of just like hopes and wishes, you're not going to really get very far. Like that's the hard truth of it. You have to have a goal or a dream, let's call it initially, which is really, really impactful. I think that's part of the human experience. That's what makes us different from every other species on planet Earth, is that we have like the forethought to be able to not just want something, but to be able to plan it out and have a direct path from point A to point B. The cool thing too is that like we now, in 2025, we have so many resources, and so many of them are either free or very, very, very affordable for us to do this. And if you guys aren't taking advantage of AI, ChatGPT at a very, very basic level, which is, a platform that I use literally every day for virtually any search or question that I have to roadmap my future, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's a free service. And if you're not blocking off some time between now and, the weekend to just sit down for a couple hours and envision what you want to have in life, and then set out a game plan that you can take action on every single day that will lead you one step closer to it, then you're not realizing your potential, like as a human being. And I think that's really, really sad. And I think a lot of people do that, and they fall into that trap of, when you're a kid, you have a lot of dreams. And then as you get older, you become more of a quote unquote realist. If you're watching this, you're seeing me do air quotes. And then you start to shoot your dreams down, and you start to close yourself off in a smaller, tighter box of, well, this is where I'm at. This is, the limitations that I have. I can't really do anything beyond my situation. So I'm just going to try to make the most of it. And I think that's maybe admirable, I guess, at the best. But, ultimately for me, like, I don't want to have a life where I'm just getting by and just doing things arbitrarily just to do them. I don't want to just be healthy. I want to be like the fittest guy in the room. I don't want to, just get by. I want to be able to afford a life that allows me to support my family members and people who are in need and need some help, right? Like that's a dream and a goal of mine, not just to be able to do well for myself selfishly, but to be able to help my parents who inevitably are going to need help. Like I'm 30, my dad's just turned 60 on the 20th. My mom's in her mid 50s. Angela's mom's a little bit older than my dad even, and they do well for themselves, but they're going to need more help and support at some point. And I want to be able to be in a position where I can either bring them in and they could be like a, live-in parent and, be a grandparent that's available all the time or something like that, or to be able to pay off their house or to pay for their mortgage payments or whatever. Like I want to be able to be in a position to do that. I don't want to just get by. Right. And I think if we take that mindset and that thought process, and then we multiply that over into our fitness, then you can realize pretty quickly that you have the ability to impact a lot more than you think. Back to the conversation that Angela and I were having, we were game planning everything that we were going to do for 2026, including finances and goals and stuff, because obviously we need to have a really solid plan in place where we can take care of a few things at home first, including getting her immigration taken care of, getting some things with the business lined up, and then eventually in 2027, because we have to have a hard deadline for this, otherwise it's just going to get pushed further and further down the road, move out of our condo, continue owning it, rent it out long-term to a reputable, well-established individual or couple who wants to stay in this place long-term, and then take the investments and stuff that we've made over time and deploy that into the States and buy a property that has a yard where we can have our dog just run free outside and hang out and go hiking in the mountains that are right outside of the backyard. I, took a screenshot of the kitchen of the house. It's not even my dream house, by the way. It's like a 1,300 square foot, well built, like new. It's it's a brand new build, but it's 1,300 square feet. It has everything that you need. It has like a beautiful kitchen and just a little bit more space. Like that's the next step. It's not this giant, massive mansion or anything crazy and bougie. Like it's out in the bush a little bit. And that's just like the first step in our long-term vision over the next 10 years that we want to be able to achieve. But in doing that, we had to take a look at what we're doing right now and then make adjustments to achieve that goal. And now we have a very, very clear plan. And when you have that clear plan, it's not just a dream where you want to do something, but the plan is how you turn a dream into a goal. It is first setting a deadline for when you're going to achieve that. So if you're listening to this and now you're looking for that practical thing out of this video or this audio that you're listening to, start writing this shit down. If you're driving in the car, like, save this to watch later or something, come back to it and write these things down and then take action on it. And if you don't, you may find yourself in a whole nother 365 of wasted time when you could have maximized your potential. First things first is write down what the goal is and when you want to achieve that goal in a reasonable but challenging timeline that actually pushes you to do things on a daily basis to get there. So for us, we want to move to Tennessee in 2027. Well, 2027, that could be January, that could be in as little as a year, that could be, as late as basically 2 years if it's December of 2027. So when exactly? Let's be really clear and specific. Well, given where we're at right now and what we need to do to get to where we want to be, August of 2027 is the time that makes the most sense for us to make that move. So it's not just a year from now, it's basically a year and a half, a little bit more than a year and a half to realize that goal. And then we have to reverse engineer it. So that's step 2. So once you have the goal that you want to achieve and the deadline, the timeline in which you can reasonably achieve that goal, you then need to reverse engineer what you're going to do to get there. So For example, let's say we had like zero money in deployable capital to be able to invest into it. So, and we need to have, let's say, 50,000 USD. We're just setting some rough numbers and examples. These are actually not figures that we used, but let's just say it was. Let's just say it was 50,000 that we needed to have in USD to be able to buy, put a down payment into a place. And we're not selling our place. We're not going to take cash from the house that we already own. We then have to reverse engineer how much money do we need to save each and every single week to be able to afford that. And given where we're at right now and the timeline that we have in place and the cash that we need to have available to do that, August 2027 is the reasonable timeline that we can do it in. That means that we have to change some things that we're doing right now because we're not in a position to buy right now. So we need to make some lifestyle adjustments so that we can actually achieve that goal. That means that when we sat down and we set these goals out, we looked each other in the eye and said, hey, this means that we're going to have to do X, Y, Z rather than over the last few years when we've been doing A, B, and C. Those activities are not going to lead us to our goals. We need to do these things, and we need to do these things consistently, not just for a month or 6 months or even a year. We need to do this until August 2027. And at that time, we will be in a position where we can actually make these dreams come true. So set the goal, set the deadline, and then reverse engineer what you need to do every single day to get to that goal. Bringing this to your, and just to I went on ChatGPT to get these numbers here for a second. I want to break this down for you. Yo, April is able to get into the frickin' chat. April, what's up? We got, I'm going to pause here real quick. We got Jasmine, Raven, and April. I'm going to start off with Jasmine. Jasmine, unmute, share a win.
Sorry, I was shoveling my driveway. The win would be I made it to the gym this morning, despite how nasty the weather is here. So that was a win.
Yeah, nice. Good job. Out in Eastern Canada. We got the best weather in British Columbia, Canada, where I'm at, and it is too cold for me. That's why Tennessee's the move in 2027. Thanks for sharing. Raven, what's up? Unmute, share a win.
Good morning.
How's Texas?
Actually pretty cold. A front just came through last night. So
Ooh.
it's like 40s, but with the wind chill, it's like low 30s, and I don't like it.
Okay, let's see what that is. That is 4 degrees Celsius. That's pretty cold. Yeah, that's kind of actually pretty much right like what I have right now. So
yeah,
you got
it's gross. Considering the last prior 2 days was in like the 80s, we were in like tank tops and shorts. It was
damn, yeah,
hot,
exactly.
So it's a quick shift.
Yeah, and it'll probably shift quickly back. Can you share me your win?
My win is that I didn't track on Christmas Day, but I also didn't go crazy. I stuck to my kind of 40% of the plate being protein, and I waited before I got seconds, and I wasn't as hungry because I waited a little bit, kind of settled, so I didn't go crazy like I in the past would have.
Norman, awesome. Love that for you. Way to follow the exact instructions that I gave you guys. That's great. Good job. April, what's up? Share a win.
Figuring out how to get on here.
Yeah. I like that. That's a half a win, though. I need a real one.
Yeah, no. Today's workout, you gave me a new program, and I looked at it yesterday, and I was like, crap, this is going to be hard. And, oh, yeah, there was a real burn, but it was good, and I feel really accomplished with it.
Cool. Good. Yeah, I definitely spent some time really tweaking things for you. Able to move around and get into everything you needed to?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Good job. Love it. Thanks so much for sharing, everybody. Appreciate you. If somebody else pops in too, everybody, I'm going to ask you to hold them accountable. Put it in the chat if they pop in that they need to share a win. Okay. And I'll try to make sure I'm looking at the screen to see that as well. So I want to go back before I continue on here. I want to kind of come back to that conversation that I had with our financial planner. And again, he just literally called us in the middle of this conversation, and we haven't heard from him in like 6 months because that's just kind of how we operate with him. We have a very specific thing that we're doing. We don't need to have regular touch points. And I'm sure most people are like that with their financial planners. You're not like weekly chatting with them or anything. So, we had a conversation, and it sparked me to have this conversation with you guys today and break some things down. So let's just imagine for a second, okay, and we're going to relate this to your fitness journey by saying that like doing things in this also, by the way, connects to the post that I just shared. If you haven't seen it yet, go take a look. I just posted a reel this morning of essentially doing things when you're tired because shut up and get it done anyways. Like that's what it boils down to. If I'm just going to be really crass is the word. I'm going to be really crass with you guys and just straight up, which I am. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I'm not very articulate, and I don't want to try to pretend to beat around the bush. I'm just going to say it straight to you, right? People who are fit do things despite being tired. That's it. Simple. That's, you know what? And you might hear that and be like, well, damn, like, but they like that sucks, because when I'm really, really tired, I really, really struggle with motivation, right? And when you hear that, you know, fit, healthy people are also struggling with that exact same situation, you have two roads that you can go down mentally. You can go down the road of like, well, that's really defeating, because I was hoping that if, you know, a fit, healthy person who's, you know, in the shape that I want to be in, or has the results or the lifestyle or whatever that I want to have, if they're constantly tired, you know, all the time too, then, and I'm like that, then like, there's not, it doesn't really feel like there's much hope. You could see it that way. I could, you know, twist my mind around to see it that way, which I think a lot of people default to that position. But the actual way that you should be thinking, and how fit, healthy people think, which is completely different, and that is the fundamental difference between where you are now and where you want to be, is how you think about the things that you need to do. The fit, healthy person says, despite how I feel, I know that I can still get the results that I want to if I just do the work. And then they just do it because it's that important to them. Okay. It's not about not having enough time, or not, you know, they have kids or they have a busy work schedule. And you know why I know that? Even though I haven't worked with every single human being in the world, because I am very, very, very confident. In fact, I would bet every single dollar that's ever existed that there are people in this world who live in the same country that you live in, Canada, US, for the people who are on right now, you're listening later, whatever, same country, same fucking city. I guarantee you that there is somebody who has a busier work schedule and who has more kids and is 2 to 3 to 4 to 10x times whatever measurable you want to try to come up with, fitter than you and me. And they have kids and they have a busier schedule. They have more kids and a busier schedule than you, and they're fitter. So if that is true, then no longer can you ever say I am too busy or too tired or my kids take up too much time. That is a shit excuse. It feels like a good one, and you're probably hearing a lot of people in your current circle, because that circle should and will change over time. You probably have people in your circle who are validating and allowing you to justify that emotional response. And that's why you are where you are. It's not because you don't have the time. It's not because you don't have the resources to do it. You don't need to be rich to buy good food. You can buy high quality food and make it budget friendly. I did it when I was 18 years old and like rooming with a bunch of people and had no money, working minimum wage. Like I still ate this basically the exact same stuff that I eat now. The only difference now is I might buy a little bit more fresh vegetables. Like that's the biggest difference. And I'll buy supplements. I used to work at the supplement store. I'd get them for free all the time. The stuff that expired a week ago but is technically still good for 2 more years, I would take that shit all the time. That's maybe the difference, okay? So the difference between me making minimum wage and where I'm at right now, I've maybe increased my grocery budget by like $300 a month. Like it's not a huge shift. Okay. And you don't even need to be doing the supplements. I don't even talk about supplements in this program, as you guys know. Very, very, very little supplement talk. The financial aspect to it and how that ties to the fitness. If you just did the things that you know you need to do despite being tired, we could say that's like the same, that effort and discipline to do, get up on time and get the workout in or get your steps in, that physical effort and time commitment would be, let's say, and this is how I rationalize it, would be like the same level of like time and energy commitment that it would take to put away $300 a month, right? So let's take a fitness goal and a fitness level of discipline, execution, effort, and resources, and apply that to like a financial one. Because I think that a lot of times it's much easier for us to like rationalize and logically see like a financial explanation of it, right? Because we see exactly how much money we have in our account. We know exactly how much money comes in with our paychecks, et cetera, et cetera. Imagine for a second if, and I went to ChatGPT to work these numbers out to help you guys have a really clear visualization. Imagine for a second that you put away $300 each month, okay? That may feel like a lot for some of you. That may feel really, really reasonable. Either way, we're going to use that figure for a second. I see that we got a chat in here, so I just want to see if there's anything. I appreciate the directness, Raven says. I appreciate you too, Raven. Let's say that you put away $300 a month. And if you did it once a month, it might feel like a really big chunk of change. You're like, I am paycheck to paycheck right now. I can't do that. But when you really get critical with yourself and take a look at how much you're spending and what you're spending it on, and you ask yourself, is this a necessary expense? Do I need this to survive? And the answer, a lot of times when you're going through your financials, do it over the last 90 days. Go into your bank statements and do the little, custom, date search and do today to the 29th of what is that going to be? October, November, December, October 29th. And take a look at every transaction that came out of your card between now and then. I can almost promise you that there's like $900 worth of shit that you did not need. It was like some extra little fancy things you wanted to add with your groceries. Maybe it was some barbecue sauce that you want but don't need. You could have got the $5 HP barbecue sauce, but you got the local fancy stuff. Maybe it was the coffee here at McDonald's or another drive-through over here, or maybe it was your nails, or maybe it was like buying some makeup or something. Those things are non-essential. Maybe you could have got cheaper makeup, whatever. There's probably $900 in the last 3 months that you spent that you didn't need to spend. So let's imagine that you got real tight with things, right? Back to the fitness side, you got real disciplined with it. No matter how tired you got, even on the nights when you went to bed at 11, you still got up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. or whatever that time was. It sucked. It was a bad sleep. You're tired. You're weaker that day. A lot of things to complain about, but you can do it. And it's not all the time. It's just something you had to do that one time because you got a late sleep, whatever. You got to bed late. $300, getting up every single day, getting your 10,000 steps in. I equate those two things. I'm looking at those as kind of the same thing, okay? So if you did $300 every month, and let's imagine it's not even once a month that you did that little transfer or that deposit to your TFSA, Canadians, TF, yeah. Angela always makes fun of me because I a lot of times say TSFA, tax savings free account. That would suck. Tax-free savings account, whatever, into your savings account. Instead, it was every time you got paid, you put $150 away. You didn't even think about it. It didn't even exist in your mind. Whatever that paycheck is of $2,000 every 2 weeks, it was actually $1,850. Let's imagine that's like you are able to just like lock in that you don't have that $150. It goes because as soon as the money hits your account, you have an automatic transfer to a savings account. $150 every 2 weeks on your paycheck, $300 a month, right? If you did that since January 2020, and there was no growth in that account. It was a zero interest account. You would have, what is that number that I came up with here? It's basically $300 per month times 72 months, right? The last 5 years. You'd have $21,600 just sitting in an account you didn't even know about in the last 5 years. A lot has happened in the last 5 years, and it's happened really, really, really quickly. I'm sure you can all agree. That's if you had no interest. Imagine if it was like a good savings account, not a bank because it's going to be like a 1% to 2% or some bullshit like that. But you had a good financial investor, the guy that I work with, for example. And on the lower end, it'd be like 15%. If you were earning 15% on that $300 over the last 5 years, instead of $21,600, you would have $35,100. That's like a net gain of, what is that? Like $15,000, $14,000, 14 and a half, whatever. Of you not doing anything. You just saying like, I just don't have that extra 150 and you just working around it. And you know what the reality is? You probably spend more than $300 a month on things that you don't necessarily need. And again, it's not like jewelry or like a bunch of fancy clothes or anything. It's like little things that you justify, right? Like I justify, and I have been for a while, these little Zins. Buy 3 of them, I get a discount. So I might as well, if I'm going to be getting it all the time, might as well get my discount. It's like $45 to get 3 of those things. Okay? And over the last few months, I've been buying them almost every 2 weeks. It's kind of how frequently I've been going through it. That's almost $100 in like something is absolutely non-essential. So if I'm doing that and I'm like walking through my numbers all the time, you're probably doing it too, and you could be doing more than $300 a month. So if you did that and you had another $35,100 sitting in your account that you didn't even know about, like what would that do for you right now if you had access to that right away? It was just sitting in another checking account that you had that you'd never touched. It just last 5 years, it's just been accumulating over time. What would you do with another $35,000? A lot of you might have like some things that you're like, oh, I really want to pay this off, or I want to put this into an investment, or I would have, gone on that vacation that I really wanted to, or whatever, Maybe you have a bunch of debt. You're like, I want to crush that debt. Like, would you be able to clear that with that $35,000 that you've just been sitting on, haven't even thought about? Or would you be able to, put a down payment onto a house that you've been, because you've been renting forever? Like, is that enough for you to put a 5% down on something to get, a place, depending on where you live? It probably is. Actually, I know that for a fact it is. We're in some places. So let's take that. So that's like, oh man, that hurts. Maybe you might be thinking that, damn, that hurts because I actually could 100% have been doing that. And so that's a bunch of cash that literally doesn't exist that could be for nothing. Feels like absolutely nothing because it's not even in your account. As soon as the money hits your account, boom, 150 into the other one, right? Imagine if you just did that automatic with your fitness, right? And it's not, again, like that's how we can compare this same realization, visualization to somebody who's like, oh, I need to lose 100 pounds and I want to have abs. That would be so monumental to try to rationalize in your head, going from wherever you are right now to being like, I want to have a 6-pack and 50 pounds of fat gone off my body. Or I want to be able to deadlift 300 pounds. I've never done that before. I can barely do one plate aside right now. That's more than double my current max lift. How am I ever going to get there? Well, with those tiny little investments every 2 weeks in your finances, or it's every day with your fitness, those tiny little investments of doing the hard thing despite it being hard, that's how you get there. That's the answer. It's so simple, and that can be sometimes really frustrating because we realize when you realize how simple it is, you realize that you could have done it, right? You're not in a worse off position. You don't have it's not an inability thing. It's not a lack of desire. It's maybe it is a lack of desire, but the reality is that you have the power to have done that. You have the power to have been able to lose that 50 pounds over the last 5 years. It's not because of your kids. It's not because of your time. It's not because you can't afford it. You can't afford the coach or the food or the gym membership. You have it. It's there. You have the time. You have the wherewithal. You have the brain capacity. It's just the effort. It's I don't give a fuck how I feel right now. I'm going to do the thing anyways because the goal is that important to me. That is the number one difference between where you are now and where you want to be, between who you are and the person that you envy. That's the difference. The person who has a couple kids and has a really stressful job and works 10 hours a day and somehow, some way, unfairly, however you've been positioning it in your head for a while to justify how you feel and where you're at, they're doing it. They have all the same problems. It's just important enough for them, and they make the effort to do the change. They're tired too, okay? Now, here's the caveat. They're not as tired as you because they're fitter and healthier and leaner. So despite them being more, tired and having the same type of mental struggles that you do, they're getting it done. And as a result, they're living the life that they want to. They're in the body that they want. They have more energy, even on those acute one-off days where they don't get enough sleep. They still get things done. They feel like shit that day, but they still get those things done. So I say this not to say, hey, quit being a pussy and just get the work done. Well, not entirely, but mostly to help you understand that you are capable of this. The thing that you want is 100% within your grasp. It is just a matter of you sticking to the process. That's it. And obviously that's easier said than done. Obviously there's going to be things that are challenging. I get all of that. You get that too. But dwelling on those things that are challenging and thinking about them doesn't help your situation either. You need to just do the work. That is, again, the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be. And it starts off with the dream, starts off with that vision, that perfect shape or strength or whatever that goal is for you, that ability to go on the hike that you constantly say no to, or whatever, be able to keep up with your kids. Whatever that really important thing is for you that you've been putting off and haven't done and had all these excuses about, wake up call, you can do it. You have the ability. It's 100% in your power. No one is stopping you except the little voice inside your head. That's the only thing that's preventing you from getting it done. This, hopefully, if you are on the path and making that mindset shift, isn't disheartening, frustrating, and making you resent me or whatever. It's instead making you go, damn, like that's exactly what I needed to hear because I know that I can do this. And in the back of my mind, I've been telling myself I know that I can do this. But it's so much easier and it feels safer to justify not doing the things that you know you can do in the back of your mind. You know that you can. It's just, it feels a lot better to be like, well, yeah, maybe I could, but all of these monumental things make it so challenging. I get it, but it doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day. Because if you don't make the change, the only thing you're going to have in 5 years is those excuses. You're not going to have the physique. You're not going to have the strength. You're not going to have the energy to play with your kids. And yeah, you're going to be tired, but you have to decide what is what's worse? Where you are right now, compounded over the next 5 years, because you are investing right now too. If you're not making the changes, you're investing in poor health long term. That's the reality of it. Everything you do and don't do has a consequence. We want to have positive consequences. We want to have the consequence of having good health, of having more energy, of having strength, right? Because those things, they bleed into your confidence and how you carry yourself. And that, when you're a more confident person and how you carry yourself, you attract more confident, healthy, fit people too into your life. Whether you're looking for a partner, or you're looking for a better community, or you're looking for people who are, more strong-willed and have better discipline, and people that you can lean on to continue achieving your fitness goals. But if you validate and keep making excuses, the people that you're going to deter those people. You become a repellent to those people who are doing the things that you want to do, and you start to attract more of those negative people who are in the same spot as you, who ultimately won't go where they want to go or where they can. So who do you want to attract and who do you want to be around? It starts with the actions that you take every single day. And you can't start those actions without having a plan that you can reliably do every single day. So here's the cool part. You got the plan. We've already worked it out. We've had a conversation. We sat down together. We said, hey, we can do A, B, and C. This is the resources I have available. This is the time that I have. And you put that in my hands. And I crafted you a beautiful, very clear, straightforward plan to get you from point A to point B. And the only thing that's going to prevent you from doing that is your own fucking voice in your head. Fix that shit. Quiet the noise. Shut it down. Every time those thoughts of negativity and inability pop back into your head, recognize it immediately, address it, and move the fuck on. Get off of that bus immediately and get on the train of moving forward and pushing despite how you feel, because that is the individual who is going to have the results that they want at this time next year. And that's it. I hope that this is helpful. I hope that you guys have an amazing day. The holidays for most of us are 100% over. So that means that you should be back on your bullshit. There are people in this program, I've done some check-ins and seen some updates since the holidays, who have literally lost weight since Christmas. And they did the same thing that I asked you everyone to do. They didn't track over Christmas. They had a high protein first, plate, waited a little bit, had a lot more of whatever else they wanted, just didn't eat themselves stuffed. That's it. That's the biggest difference. And they lost weight. There's some people, shout out to oh my gosh. Maddie. Shout out to Maddie, who lost a couple pounds through the holidays. Congrats. Very excited for her. She's now down officially 13 pounds since end of October. And she's busy. She works a rotating schedule. She's a first responder. Like, she's got a lot of shit on the go. Just bought her first place at 25 years old. Congrats to her and her boyfriend. Like, she's making moves and she's sticking to the plan. And she has bigger plans for 2026 too. And you can do that shit too. So stick with it. The holidays are now over. Back on your plan. Track your food. Get your steps. Hit your workouts. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Also, the schedule that I have that's pinned in the main Hint Nation community post is fall schedule. We are now obviously well into winter at this point. We're going to have a Q1 schedule. So the first 4 months of January, I'll be releasing that either today or tomorrow and posting and pinning that into the community with some new call times. If you guys have suggestions or requests of different topics that you'd like to focus on, then message me or drop that in the community and invite other people to, put their input on there too. We're going to continue with Mindset Mondays. We are going to continue with Form Fridays for sure. We may add a fourth call if everybody wants that. We may get back into doing the nutrition log audits where we would review people's MyFitnessPal logs and give them feedback on it. And if there's something else that I'm not thinking about and you're like, damn, I would love to have a call on this where I could review it and get some feedback, then hey, go ahead and drop that in. I want you guys to have some input on it as well. That's it. Hope you all have an amazing Monday. Take care, and I'll see you on Wednesday for Q&A.